What's going on, you guys? Kendall here, and welcome back. I'm going to go over this clip with Scott Galloway that Patrick Bet David breaks down, and he's an economist that pretty much breaks down why people are not getting married today. So we're going to look at the clip, we're going to analyze it, we're going to dissect it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, and I want to know if you agree, disagree, and let's talk about it. So here's the clip. They're going to play it, and they're going to discuss it. So we'll discuss their commentary, and we'll discuss the clip as well.
But here's Professor Galloway talking about marriage is the new luxury item. Folks, do you agree? Rob, can you run a poll on this? Go for it.
60% of 30-year-olds used to have at least one child 40 years ago. Now it's 27%. They can't afford to. And also, when you have a lot of young men who aren't economically viable, we don't like to have an honest conversation about mating. Men mate socioeconomically, horizontally and down, women horizontally and up. Beyonce could work at McDonald's and marry Jay-Z. The opposite is not true. 75% of women say economic viability is key to a mate, only 25% of men. So when men are not doing well economically, we have an absence of mating. We have an absence of what is the opportunity to do the most rewarding thing in the world, and that is build a family where you get to that point of building something with someone else. It's tough on women, but it is absolutely disastrous for men. It just makes me very upset and rattled to think that the most rewarding thing in my life is effectively off limits. Marriage is the new luxury item. 4/5 of people in the top quintile of income-earning households get married. Only 1 in 5 men in the lowest quintile ever have an opportunity to mate. Only 80% of women have reproduced in our species on the planet, only 40% of men. Women are disproportionately and unfairly evaluated on their aesthetics. Men are unfairly and disproportionately evaluated on their economic viability. And a society collapses on itself because those men get angry, and the most dangerous person in the world is a lonely, broke young man.
There you go. There you go. My dad would say that all the time.
Whoa.
Tom, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, we're not here to promote.
Whoa. So that was a pretty loaded statement. Just from first and foremost, I've seen some statistics that are very similar to that, and I completely agree. I always tell friends, family members, and other men that I know that men have financial clocks. Women are just looking at the love of the situation. So it's extremely difficult to raise a family in today's age if you aren't operating in purpose and pushing towards the things that you want, and you don't have the things that you need financially. When you have your hierarchy of needs set and you have the things that you need in your life, it's a lot easier to grind. It's a lot easier to think about those things, because I have some friends, they literally say, hey, I don't want a child because that's just an extra bill. I don't want kids because that's an extra bill. But to me, when you look at the aspect of marriage and the covenant of marriage, you get favor from God when you are married. Things work better for you. Some people, when you have a partner to grind with you and do things with you, your life should become easier. So if you're just looking at it from a topical, worldly perspective, then I would just say, yeah, he's completely right. But if you're looking at it through the lens of who you are in the kingdom, we're supposed to be the salt of the earth. We're supposed to come and shake things up. We're supposed to shift the environment. And so sometimes God will give you a helpmate and a partner in a season when you are building, and you can't be afraid to marry that partner or completely fully commit because you're not where you want to be financially. You're putting finances above your happiness. You're putting your finances even above your purpose sometimes, because if God sends you somebody and you feel in your spirit that you're supposed to marry them and you're operating in sin and you're delaying things, all you're doing is delaying your own destiny. It doesn't make sense. So I think he's correct from a fiscal perspective that, yes, it is a lot harder to do things nowadays when you have a family, when you're married. It is a luxury item. Women, you want to treat your wife the right way. You want to be able to take her on nice dates. You want to make sure that she has a wedding that she wants, that she desires. It's not all about the material items, but you want to be able to do things and make sure that she enjoys her life with you. You don't want her to have an experience of life that is lower than her standard of living. But like he was saying, Beyonce could, get married to Jay-Z if she was broke, but it wouldn't work the opposite. Men are normally the ones that have to be the provider in the household, and that's how it should be. We're the head. We're supposed to lead. And women don't really want to deal with a man who has no resources, because it's a lot harder for them to operate their life as well. And I could only imagine what it's like once they have their first child, besides just being married. But once you have kids, you have to have time off. You have to be able to allocate time towards fully focusing on building your child up from birth and helping them grow and doing all of the little things. You can't do that if you're focused on finances and the marriage has so many problems. Most of the time, people have issues in the relationship due to communication problems, due to financial problems, and most of the time they have sexual problems as well. But all those things are interconnected. When you're stressed out from not doing well with your job and then you come home with your wife, you guys can be short-tempered. Then if you have a child there nagging and crying and it's a lot of different things happening at the same time. You have to be able to understand the waves and the emotions of everything going on, but then navigate it in a way that you can execute and provide and do things for your family. So it's a very daunting task. And like you're saying, people in the upper percentile, they get married more. People in the lower percentile, they don't. They don't want to deal with that headache and that hassle. But it is possible to jump into that higher upper echelon tier of life when you have the right partner. When you have the right partner that's in your life and a helpmate, they're going to help you build and get to the place that God wants you to be. Let's see some of their breakdown of what they say. Let's see if they have anything insightful to say here.
Anybody, but Prof G has written a couple very interesting papers on this that I think both Pat and I agree with, and he's broken down the stats exactly as he's talking there. What we need is, this isn't something you can change at the voting booth. This isn't something that you can change overnight. We need a viable, thriving economy that is building the kind of jobs so these men are employed and are attractive mates. Because what I said about women is true. It's not just these, so-called super aesthetic women that are marrying the rich guys. There's women out there that want a stable, honest, clean guy to have a life with. And when guys are all by themselves, as Prof G said, you're in your bedroom all by yourself playing video games, isolationist, the online world is your world. You're not building yourself socially, and then never mind, you go out to find a job, and in certain areas you can't. We need the economy to be booming so that people have jobs. And guess what? With the job comes pride and self-esteem, good pride and self-esteem and attractiveness. And guess what? You find women that are attracted to that. You have kids, and you build the strength and fabric of the country that values all those things. But you got to do it one step at a time, and you got to do what you can do to reach across and encourage and help people, raise up. And that's where my heart is. When I say I leave people better than you found them, that's what I try to do. When I say that I'm always willing to talk to people about how do you find a way up, that's what I'm trying to do. That's me.
Jeff.
I'm going to go back to college here.
I love that.
What did men do long before everybody had to go to college? What kind of jobs did they end up gravitating toward? Yes, there are not as many of those as there used to
Farmers,
be.
construction, hands,
Exactly.
plumber.
Right. And so what we did as a society is deviate and rechannel a lot of that effort into what goes on in colleges these days. Unproductive uses. It's the old Austrian economic term, malinvestment. We're malinvesting in our human stock by forcing people to go to college when they should be doing something else. That's not the only reason. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that's the sole answer here, but that's part of the problem here is we've overestimated the value of college education, and maybe there was a time when that was the case, when college education actually did build up the intellectual stock of the labor force. But that ship has sailed. That passed a long time ago. Now we just mass produce all of these people into college, and we don't give them productive skills. In fact, we give them, they end up being lost at the end. They end up overburdened with debt. They're lost. They have no real idea of where they're going, and they don't really have any productive skills that can be used to build a career and therefore a family. So, yeah, I'm going to demonize college again.
And we allowed them to go into debt
Whoa.
in our history degree.
We encourage them.
Whoa,
That's the
whoa,
thing.
whoa. I mean, that's a big point. I do know. Well, personally, I'm a college graduate, so I wouldn't say that college doesn't hold any importance, but I would say that having applicable life skills and knowing how to navigate life and understanding credit and understanding business and understanding people and psychology and understanding sales can get you very far, sometimes a lot further than a college degree. Because when you have a degree, it teaches you how to work for somebody else. you don't really know how to think and do things for yourself. One thing that I've noticed with really, really, really successful people is they have a very high AQ, not just an IQ. Their AQ is their adaptability quotient. Like when they have negative things that happen in their life, how do they respond? How do they pivot? How do they shift? And how do they shape things? As an entrepreneur, you have to continually figure out problems. You have to fix things nonstop. You have to change things, and you can't get easily flustered, because once you get flustered, and that's when you start getting into your EQ. Once you start getting flustered, you start making worse decisions, and it's harder to do it. So what they're explaining is on a macro level, you can't have an economy that's where it is and people are just going to college and they're coming out and they're starting the world in debt. Men are starting the world already in debt without having a direction and a plan to make things easier for them. So I completely agree with that. And it is a lot harder to do things. And no one just shows you how, hey, you can't just go work at the plant. You can't just get a random job and make money like you used to back in the day. But I do have, by the way, my legacy group, which walks you through how to fix your own credit and how to gain income digitally. So I think everybody should have the ability to make income from wherever they are. And the link, I'll have it. It's in my YouTube bio. It's on my channel. So make sure you guys join the legacy group. It's a lot of just free information on how you can pretty much shift your life and your situation. Because I think credit is a powerful tool, because if you don't have the money that you need to do everything at one time, at least you can leverage OPM, which is other people's money, to invest in something, to build something for yourself. So men are definitely running away from the dating pool, and the way that society and the world has things, it is difficult because there's no set plan. It's not as easy as it used to be. So let me know if you agree, disagree, but God definitely has a plan for you. Don't be afraid of marriage. Don't live in sin. It's a lot better on this side when you are married and you are fully committed and you're in covenant. You don't have to worry about things. You'll get new ideas, and God will bless you and bless your marriage and bless your life. So I'll see you guys on the next one, and we have so many more great videos coming. See you soon.